Oh, yeah, that went great. Alright. Welcome back to Seduce Me. What would be the okay. I've decided who we're gonna go after. It was actually a debate between Damien, James, and actually Alexander, I think this was his name was, when we met him at the ball. I found out he had a root, and I was like, I wonder if I should do that first. Like, nah, we're gonna go for an incubi. So, what we're gonna do, just gonna save, just in case. We're gonna see which one brings us to James. Damien, James, I don't know who I want. James. James. Make some coffee. I decided making coffee was the best bet in surviving the rest of the day. Why not? I haven't had coffee in forever. I got out of bed and made my way to the kitchen, unconcerned that I was in pajamas and pants and a tank top, and rummaged through the cabinets for a coffee machine and any makings for coffee. Sure that my grandfather had some. French press, well, it's better than nothing. As I began to make my coffee, I checked my email and text on my phone. No new important emails. No text message. I sighed. My life. I quickly made my coffee, just how I liked it, and sat in the corner. But then, I began to wonder. Would this happen every day? I let the question linger in my mind. For a whole morning, I did not think once about the boys or Alex. Everything was peaceful. Everything was average. Nothing magical, or dangerous, or unusual. I simply drank my coffee as I let the thought marinate in the back of my head. Marinate. I returned to my bed, feeling the weight of the morning drag me under my covers. I forgot that I was supposed to time. Just trying to sleep again. I had energy, but I wanted more sleep. It was Sunday and nothing was happening. Come on. Timer. No, don't want you beeping. Alright, there we go. Come on, eyes. Back to sleep. I shut my eyes and tried to slow my breathing. I looked at my phone to check the time once again. It was noon, yet I felt like I had slept much longer. Why is time going so slowly? Where is everybody? I sighed, got changed in normal clothes, and went out to the main hall and sat on the stairs. Sunday was very boring. However, the muffled sound of a battle caught my attention. I quickly went to the backyard in response to the noise I had heard. Nobody is happy to see me! In the yard were all 5 boys practicing fighting. Sam was in the middle of the other force surrounding him, and throwing punches and kicks at him. Sam, being the strongest of the bunch, blocked and dodged each almost masterfully. Don't disturb them. I just watched. The boys were very much in their own world, focusing on the training they all were in. It was better not to disturb them. I checked the time and decided to head back. Shit, maybe I should've. I don't know anymore. Inside the kitchen, I was getting hungry, and I'm sure the boys would need to eat soon, so lunch was a must. Might as well make lunch today. It's been a while since I cooked. Lunch wasn't particularly hard. I decided to make... Okay, this might be detrimental to everything. Lunch and men are always detrimental to everything. Okay. Simple chicken and rice. Gotta keep the energy and strength up with protein. I think that's what it said. I took my time to make almost perfect chicken breast alongside some rice. Cooking wasn't hard unless you didn't know what you were doing in the first place. Me. I placed the food in the dining room. However, none of the boys were there by the time I brought the final dish out. I carried the dish to the main lobby, catching the boys separating into different rooms in the house. Part of me wanted to go to one in particular. The other part of me wanted to just leave them be and take the food in my hand to my room and eat. Maybe I could go out today while the boys were focusing on training. Gosh. Find one of the incubi. I quickly rushed back and grabbed a second food dish before hunting down one of the boys. I couldn't find any of them. God damn it. I could only shrug, though. How do you get... They knew where the food was, so I went to my room and instead ate alone in my room. It's not my problem. I turned on my computer and started to jam music as I ate my food. As I ate, I began to think about going out. There were so many places to go, things to do. Watch me save every choice. I think we should go to grandfather's grave because we talked about our problems with James and grandfather's a problem. Oh, click it. It was a Sunday and I felt the need to see my grandfather. It had been only 3 days since he'd been buried at the cemetery, and I was only a short walk away. I decided to see him. I took my time eating and headed out to the street to walk towards the cemetery. It was a good half-an-hour walk, but it would be a nice stroll. A flower shop was on the way, so I could pick up flowers up for his grave. I still felt the sting of grief run through my bones, but I knew that it would eventually fade over time. I paused my journey to the journey to the cemetery to enter the flower shop, quickly picking up a bouquet from the back display case and paying. My mouth isn't working. The bouquet of lilies. Please, thank you. With flowers in hand, I made my way to the large steel gates of St. Joseph's Cemetery. I entered and felt the cold shiver of death run through the air against my skin. Would it always be like this? The cemetery was a final resting place. It wasn't just for mourning or sadness, it was supposed to be for a place of remembrance. I sighed that's bright. I sighed as I walked through the cemetery towards my grandfather's grave. Before I could reach it, though, I noticed a figure standing by the slab. Who's that? I stopped walking and tried to focus my sight to see who was standing at my grandfather's grave before I approached. I didn't want to interrupt a prayer or anything, but even more I wanted to know who exactly was there. My mind barely considered the idea that it was my father, but it couldn't have been him. Familiar brown hair around this person's head instead of black-gray. James! He was vaguely familiar. Andrew. I don't want you! I don't want you! No. No! No! Yes! Excuse me a moment. Screw it. I decided to interrupt them. Look at Eric's face. All at once the boys looked at me. Frozen in their movement, sorry. I just stood at the doorway staring at them after my outburst. James was the first to break away from the group, stepping towards me.
Good morning. We apologize if we woke you up.
Oh, it's fine. Just, you know. No, it's fine. I've been awake for a while. Sorry I interrupted you.
It's quite all right. We needed to stop anyway. We don't want to overwork Sam.
Oh, come on. I can handle more than those pity punches.
Pity punches. Pity punches. That's fun to say.
Your mind seems grateful that we've stopped.
Shut up, Damien.
Thank you. Somebody agrees with me.
Probably make some lunch. I'm sure you're starving.
I can handle lunch if you like. You all seem very busy training to beat Malik's. I'll take care of it today.
Whoa, seriously?
Yeah, why not? I'm not useless. I know how to cook and do other stuff too.
Well, no, I wasn't insinuating.
Uh-huh.
What he means to say is that we'd be really grateful if you could make lunch today.
Okay. No problem! As I turned to the kitchen, the boys went back to training. They seemed very determined to get better and become stronger. Better, stronger, faster, something. What's that song? Might as well make lunch today. It's been a while since I cooked. Lunch was particularly easy to make. Okay, now we're gonna save here. Look how many times I saved because I was just so stupid. Okay, we're gonna save here. And we're gonna go with chicken and rice again. Gotta keep the energy. I took my time to make almost perfect chicken breast alongside some rice. Cooking wasn't hard unless you didn't know what you were doing and blah 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 blah. Placed the food in the dining room, however none of the boys were by the time I finally dished out. I carried the dish in the main lobby and stuff. Already wanted to go and blah blah. I quickly rushed back hunting down the boys. I couldn't find any of them. It's not my problem. I told them. What if I make something different? Wait, not that one. Okay. What if I make something totally different? Yes. Cold cuts sandwiches. Because why not? Fine. Go to your room. What's the point? Decided against bothering them. They knew the food was, so blah blah blah. It's not my problem, blah blah blah. Fine. I guess it doesn't really matter what we do. Great. Fucking ass. Okay, where should we go? Stay in my room. They'll come eventually. I decided to stay in. There really was no need to spend my day anywhere except at home. I'll just entertain myself. Question was how. Just make a choice. Just make a choice. Held my head, wondering why I made such a decision. I don't know. However, the sound of my yelling father in my memory played loud enough to justify the decision. I gathered my books, placed them around my bed, and began to study. I didn't necessarily have a method, but I read the pages I needed to read, repeated them in my head, possibly wrote facts down on notes cards or in my notebook, and then there was a chance I quizzed myself. Whatever I did worked, so I continued to not officially solidify a method. Did I even read that right? No, whatever. I flipped through the economics book and stopped on a page in slight surprise. 1/3 of the page was an image of a teenager passing out toys to children on the street. The caption was, Harold Anderson, 1940, teen life before becoming a wealthy businessman. Grandpa. I had known of my grandfather's rise from the business like it was a story to memorize. He was just a teen in Chicago who really cared for kids. However, in response to an influx of homeless children, my grandfather started saving money and building toys to comfort them. But even went so far as to sell some of his toys to buy food and blankets for them. He eventually was given award upon award, earning scholarships to go to Ivy League schools in engineering and design. Instead, though, he went into business and wound up being the top of his class. He graduated with a plan and built the Anderson family toys practically from the ground up. He knew how to play the game and eventually became a master of business world. He had become a figure to look up to as well as business rival to be feared. I ran my fingers over the picture, remembering how much older he looked when I last saw him. You're a prodigy. To think I would see him in the books were almost story-like. Here was someone my own of my flesh and blood for all to see. Frankly, I liked the picture a lot. Everyone knew of Harold Anderson, the CEO in Anderson Toys Company, but I knew him as my grandfather. He truly had the heart of a child covered in a pure gold. I shook out my head and continued to study until dinner came around. The remainder of the night passed by, surprisingly uneventful. The boys continued to train with each other, but they were kind enough to stop and make me dinner. I was glad for that. Surprisingly, the food was perfect, but it felt a little empty without the boys to eat with me. Most likely I'd already eaten, but still I felt lonely. I couldn't let that bother me. I ate and went back to my room and studied and slept. Surprisingly, I felt good going to bed at night. Felt like I could have a peaceful sleep after the previous rough nights I've had. I felt good. Yeah. Yeah, I don't like how this is going at all. I drifted to sleep and woke up almost flawlessly the next morning. No grossness, no aches, perfectly energized and bright-eyed. Man, how long has it been since I got that much sleep? Much good sleep, but... I looked at my alarm clock. I woke up 10 minutes before my alarm. Well, hey, it must be my lucky day. Karma owed me some luck. After all I had gone through in merely a handful of days, I deserved to get some good luck. Ecstatic for the day ahead, I turned off my alarm before they could ring and got dressed. However, my phone started to quickly buzz from the incoming text. Who is texting this early?
Yo, Anderson! You're carpooling with us from now on.
That's creepy.
We're not letting you waste your money on a bus.
That's creepy.
Get ready and be at your gate at 7 stat.
That's creepy. I could have read that, you know. I smiled. My friends were the best. I couldn't drive yet and I didn't have a car, so it was awesome that my friends let me carpool. I checked the time, 6:30. Perfect, I can eat some breakfast before they come. Packed my bag and carried it downstairs into the kitchen. Quickly made myself coffee and toast, not having time for anything big. I let out a soft sigh of unhappiness as I sipped my coffee. I felt great and I felt like nothing could stop me today. Come at me, day. I'm ready for you. Come at me, Monday. I looked at the time again. Time to go. I quickly rushed to the door, checking myself in the passing mirror. I wasn't wanting to impress anyone, but I still needed to look decent. And when on cue, Naomi drove up to the gates with Susie waving me down. I rushed out the door and we headed to the school, talking about homework and what's going on? Where are the guys? Why am I not? Why? Why am I not loving guys? We made it into school without a hitch. Our lockers were in the same part of the hall, so we quickly unloaded what we needed and got our important books and necessities. First incident of the day. As I walked towards Suzu and Naomi, who were both waiting for me on the opposite side of the hall, someone hooked my ankle and made me fall forward. Ah! Oh, give me a heart attack. Ow.
Hey, are you okay?
No, I almost had a heart attack. That scared me for some reason.
Who did that?
I don't know. Oh, it's one of the plastics. The three of us looked back to see Lizette and her gaggle of girls. Lizette had a look of complete innocence while the girls around her giggled like no tomorrow.
Why, you little...
Get her.
Suzu, don't!
No! I felt a giant fire of anger burn in my stomach as I stared at Lizette. Today was not the only thing that happened to me. However, it was now clear who was behind these incidents. Even if she was innocent and one of her goons did it, it was now obvious that Lizette was the mastermind, just from the look on her face. She was no Fred, nor would she ever be. I had to do something. There's a part of me that says, beat her ass. There's another part of me that says, be the bigger man. Don't do it. I like short people! I shouldn't have done that! I am a nightmare. I had enough. Oh no! I felt adrenaline rush through my body as I pounced off the ground and rushed into the set. I was not going to be the only one with scrapes this time. I tackled Lizette to the ground, swiping and slapping her in the face. She screamed and right before trying to push me off and block my...
Holy shit! Anderson! Stop it!
I wasn't listening to anyone. I let my carnal need for revenge take over as painful as to get better aim at her face. Oh my god. I had enough of the bullying, the wounds, the insults. All that was going to burn in the past as I screamed my nails and hands across his face. My rebellion would be marked on her pretty face for all to see. Lizette pushed me off and scrambled to her feet, both panic and angry at the same time. Her emotion was nowhere close to the anger I was feeling.
Are you crazy? What the hell?
I did not think that through. I stood up very slowly, glaring daggers into Lizette's soul through her eyes. I must have some sort of monster behind me, or maybe I looked like a monster myself, but the Gecko girls, Lizette, and even my friends had a look of terror on their face. I've had enough of you, Lizette. You obviously won't stop unless I fight back. Guess what? You're gonna get it. I charged at Lizette the second time, shoving her hard against the locker. She let out a yelp of pain as she smacked the back of her head against the metal behind her before glaring and shoving me back. As I stumbled back, Lizette raised her hand ready to
Then
fight.
come on, Anderson! Show me what you've got! I bet it's not much.
She knows Taekwondo. I felt myself snarl in anger before raising my own fist, remembering my Taekwondo. I quickly snapped onto her leg and raised the leg and get a swift kick at her head, but she blocked it with her arm and stepped towards me to jab at me. She had a training, not surprising. I didn't care at the moment. I bent back away from the incoming jab, reestablishing my balance as I placed both feet on the floor. Lizette threw a jab upon jab at me, forcing me to block my torso and face with my arms and hands. Hit for hit, Lizette and I exchanged and defended blows at each other. It was indeed more than just a catfight. This was a vengeful duel. In my mind, all I saw was Lizette. All I wanted to do was make her stop, and if it meant beating her down, then it had to be done. We eventually gained a small crowd of people. Where are the teachers in school? All silent and observing the fight, my anger intensified, and my hits became harder with each second that passed between us. I couldn't let her win. I wouldn't let her win. None of Lizette's girls dared to step in, apparently afraid after seeing our skills and our individual fighting styles. Suzu was held up by Naomi's arm despite both of them wanting to help me. They didn't wait long for it to end, though. Oh. Suddenly, Lizette was pulled away from me. I was pushed against the lockers by a strong force. Lizette hit the lockers as well as one at the opposite end of the hallway, letting out a girly grunt of pain. Who are you? I looked up to see my art teacher, Miss Gordon, holding me against the locker with a look of surprise and serious concern on her face.
Anderson, what are you doing?
Kicking butt. What are you doing, hippie? The other teacher's just so confused. What? Oh, she has had a Cormie. That's cool. I looked to see Lizette held back by Mrs. Phillips, starting to cry innocently. Okay, I should have seen that coming. I should have. Lizette being held back by Mrs. Phillips. Oh. I knew it was going to come out of her mouth, so I tried to push Miss Gordon off to comfort her. Confront her? Why would I? Miss Gordon, however, kept my arm wrapped around... kept an arm wrapped around me, keeping me back. Don't you dare start crying, Lizette. You started
Miss
this.
Anderson, get a hold of yourself!
Never. What's wrong with you? What did I ever do to you? Damn it, Sexto, calm down. I couldn't stop the angry tears running down my face as I shouted across the hallway. Lizette and Miss Phillips stared in shock at my screams, and Miss Gordon, tightened her hold on me. I am so sick of it. Leave me alone. Eventually I lost my energy and began to weigh down on Miss Gordon's arm. Letting my sadness take over and quench my anger with tears and swelling pain, I could feel Miss Gordon hug me to her to keep me upright as Lizette sniffled and confided in Mrs. Phillips.
I didn't do anything to her. She just attacked me all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm. Yes, tell me more.
That's a lie, Lisette. You tripped her on purpose. You've always been a snobby prick to us.
Never! I gave my condolences about her grandfather's death. I try to keep everyone calm. Is that so wrong?
That was yesterday.
You didn't even sound sincere. We know you were only pretending to be nice to spite us.
Enough. Miss White, follow me to the dean's office.
Uh-oh. Lizette followed, wiping her eyes and feigned innocence. She knew how to play up. I remained still as Miss Gordon's arm, unable to bring myself to fight to get Lizette again. I had done my damage. The gaggle of Lizette wannabes would make sure I became infamous around the school. I didn't care. I made a statement on Lizette's face and body. Wasn't afraid to do it again. Miss Gordon, however, wasn't done with me.
Come with me, sweetie.
I nodded and followed. My friends frowned as they watched me leave, but they headed to class without me. Miss Gordon led me to an empty classroom, which she had claimed as hers. It looked like all the other classrooms, but art posters lined the walls. Many students loved the room, but hated one thing, a mirror in the very back of the room. It was one thing Miss Gordon loved to use against her students. With it, she was able to see who was using their phones and who was actually studying. Nice. Miss Gordon led me to the back of the room and sat me down in the front of it.
What do you see?
Me? Can I? Cool. You have very pretty eyes. Huh?
Tell me what you see.
Us? I looked in a mirror and saw myself. My clothes were a little ruffled from the fight, but beyond that, I just saw me. Nothing about me seemed different than normal. See myself.
Alright. What else?
I don't understand.
You know what I see? I see a brilliant woman who has been working her butt off to try and find herself. She just has a little bit of adversity in her way.
I think it's pronounced adversity. Adversity. Whatever. What does this have to do with what happened with Lizette?
Listen, don't think about Lisette right now. She's just another student who doesn't know what you're going through.
I stared at myself in the mirror, unable to tear my eyes away. Tear. Wow. She was right, but I still lingered on what happened with Lizette. I know Miss Gordon was only trying to help, but I couldn't fight the thought in my head. Miss Gordon gently rubbed my shoulder, snapping me from my thoughts. I looked up to see her smile down at me through the mirror.
You know, those are some pretty interesting moves. Taekwondo.
See, she didn't pronounce it! Yeah.
You'll have to show me one day.
I laughed and she hugged me gently.
Look, don't let Lisette get to you, okay? You have your own battles to face, and you can face them just fine. Instead of fighting Lisette, focus on your goals.
Looked up at her and nodded slightly. It was cliche to hear, but she was telling the truth. I need to focus on myself first. She gave me a small packet of tissues and told me that she would handle Lizette. The fear about my family learning about of this had quickly appeared and had vanished when she promised to keep me out of it as much as she could.
Everything will be fine now. You're a good student, so I'll let you off with a severe warning. Just don't get into any more fights, okay? Now, head to class.
I really like her. I nodded before heading to class. Yay! Surprisingly, the rest of the school day went off without another incident. Went to my classes, had lunch, and was anxious to get home. The bell rang for school to end. I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket. Text from, oh no! Picking up today, make sure you're ready to go when I get there. Oh no. That's kind of a surprise. Oh no. I quickly headed back to my locker and got my things before waiting for Naomi and Suzu.
Hey, are you ready to go? Really? Okay, I guess that kind of
Oh.
makes sense.
Oops, I skipped her line. I didn't mean to, but she said she was going with her father.
We'll drive home together next time. Tell your dad that we've got you covered from now on.
Okay. Even while I left, something didn't seem right. My dad texted me to say this. Why was he going to pick me up? Had I done something wrong? You got into a fight? I didn't know. I waved goodbye to Naomi and Susie before heading off to the usual spot where my dad picks me up. I took the time to listen to my music while I waited. I need to go another Rise at the Phoenix concert. I thought that was a song, but then it was just a statement. Eventually, I had played the entire album with no one showing up. What the hey? Dad's never late, especially not this late. What the hey? I quickly dialed my dad's number again, but as soon as I pressed call, disconnected, and read a signal disconnection error message. What the? Signal error? How do I not have signal? Double-checked my phone and saw all 5 bars for signal. Must be a dead zone. Oh no. Before I could finish, a group of hands grabbed at my hands, feet, and covered my mouth. I screamed into a hand over my mouth, struggling to pull away from the hands grabbing at my limbs. I felt disgusting and scary feeling. Their hands on me. I needed it to stop.
Hey! Don't dirty up Malix's prey.
Oh no. The voice would sense a fearful... Oh no. A voice would send a fearful shiver down my spine, whispered into my ear.
You're coming with me, Miss Anderson.